Hi, my name is Corinne Wu, and my topic is the Joseon Dynasty and gyeongbok. Recently, there's been a popular interest in the Korean imperial life, which is evident in many of the TV shows that have been airing, such as Palace, which mainly focuses on aspects of the Joseon Dynasty, which was the longest running dynasty in Korea. From the Joseon Dynasty was a rich cultural heritage of politics, language, and art. The Joseon Dynasty was founded in 1392 by General Yi when he took over the Goryeo Dynasty. And he changed his name to King Taeho, which is shown right here. And he was the first king of the Joseon Dynasty. The main change that he made when he took power was changing the national philosophy from Buddhism to Confucianism, which will be evident throughout the Joseon Dynasty. The king was in absolute power, so he could make all the decisions, but he also had government officials under him who could tell him if he wasn't following a Confucius value. These officials were called the yangban, and they had to pass a civil service test in order to come to power. And this testing system is still evident in South Korea today by the national exam that students have to take. The class under the yangban were the chugin, who were the specialists, and these were mostly people who had specific knowledge in medicine and science. And under them were the majority of the population, who included the commoners and the laborers. And under them were the prostitutes and the slaves. The palace was constructed as a symbol of the nation, and there were 5 main royal palaces, and the most famous of them is the gyeongbok. The architecture of the palaces is also evidence of the change from Buddhism to Confucianism, because the Korean architecture of the palaces is very distinct from the ones of Chinese and other Asian countries. Because at this time, Buddhism was on decline, so they focused their architecture to display their Confucius values. The gyeongbok means shining happiness, and it was meant to be a symbol of the new dynasty, and it was constructed in 1395. The Gyeongbok is the main gate and is often the first thing that tourists and passersby will see when they pass the palace. The Gyeongjong is arguably one of the most important buildings or structures in the palace, because it was where all the political decisions were made, and it was where the officials would meet the king and talk to him about specific political arrangements, and that is right here. The Gyeongbok Pavilion is also very important because it was where all the royal palaces, or all the royal parties and banquets were held. And these royal banquets were very important to the royal family, and there was a lot of preparation done for these events. One of the more important kings in the Joseon Dynasty was King Sejong, and he advanced art and technology and also the language. He created Hangul, which is the written Korean language, to be a simple form so that everyone can learn it, not just the royalty. And he also pushed the language so that the Korean commoners could have books on medicine, so that they wouldn't have to go to doctors for simple ailments. also encouraged trade with other countries, which declined afterwards when Korea was under attack. In 1592, Korea was attacked by the Japanese and the palace was burned down. And although the Japanese weren't successful in taking over Korea, Korea decided to close off the country to foreigners. So it became known as the Hermit Kingdom. During this time, the palace was built again. However, after this, the Koreans countered many problems, both internal and external. At this time, imperialism was at a height, so many countries began to fight over the territory of Korea. Internally, they had social problems where the young began to become corrupt. So there were many arrests and there was political unrest in the system. Also economically, they weren't as advanced as other countries, so they had very little self-defense and communication. When the Japanese won the Russo-Japanese War, they were able to claim Korea as territory, and in 1910, Korea officially became a territory of Japan. That is the official end of the Joseon dynasty, and though the royal family survived, they were never ever the head of power in Korea again. On July 16, 2005, the last crown prince died in the United States, ending the royal line for good. However, the palace and artifacts and the language remain as a reminder of the achievements during the Joseon dynasty.
I was wondering, is there any original part of the, like you said, the palace burned down? Did all of it burn down? Is there anything still from the original 15, whatever original building?
They weren't really specific when I was researching, so I'll get back to you on that, but I think the majority of it.
Before Hangul, was there another written language?
They actually spoke Chinese, and a lot of it was based on Chinese. The language was also based on Chinese, so yeah, there wasn't an official Korean written language until.
What monuments were built?
Besides the palace, there were a few more, and I'll get back to you on specifically the names, but